This podcast is brought to you by the Prospect Research Institute, where researchers come to learn, innovate, and connect.
When people interact with our contract, they pay the 1% management fee, and we move that into a foundation that we set up in Switzerland. And then we create a decentralized governance process so that the community member can decide where that money goes to.
Welcome to Prospect Research Chat Bites, a podcast by and for prospect research professionals. I'm Jennifer Filla. Today, I'm talking with Melody Song, Director, Global Impact at popcorn.network. Hello, Melody. Thank you for joining me today on Chat Bites.
Thank you, Jen. It's really great to be here as well.
I almost can't wait to dig in and talk crypto and decentralized finance. But first, I'm always curious about the background of people. What's your career been like? How did you get to where you are now? And I'm thinking you started in prospect research, but I'm not sure. That's when I met you. Would you be willing to share?
It is a weird story because I started as the director of development for a ballet company, and thinking that I just get front row seat to watch a ballet, and not exactly knowing what I'm getting myself into, and that's how I started my fundraising career. So starting out kind of like a development officer, but then I went into prospect research, kind of saved me from that doubt, because I didn't really enjoy it until I got into prospect management. I feel I have, prospect management is more about the science behind fundraising, and I extremely enjoy that part of fundraising. So I did that for a few years. So that was more than 15 years ago. So I've been in this industry for that long. But after prospect research, I went to, the dark side to become a development officer again, and major giving. So I was working for a zoo on wildlife conservation projects, especially in the area of international fundraising. So I fundraised for the giant pandas to go to Canada, kind of getting fundings from philanthropists on both sides of the border, Canada and China. That was really, really exciting and, very interesting as well, kind of looking at international donors, because, the landscape of philanthropy, as we know, is always changing. And then I went into consulting. So I did consulting for two years. I consulted with a Canadian firm, Vitriol, and also with Global Philanthropic in the UK after I moved to Berlin. So now I'm settled in Berlin and get into a completely different field again. I think just getting into crypto reminded me of the excitement of working in prospect management and prospect research, because I think the data analytics side is always a very cutting edge side of the fundraising for me. And, getting into crypto or decentralized financing kind of make me feel that I'm, getting to know something new, getting to know something more innovative. And I want to really bring this back into the social impact world, because I see a lot of disconnection between the two worlds. But really is, I'm here, I'm a director of a foundation now, and the money from this foundation are from this decentralized financing products through the management fees. So I'm pretty much still in the social impact part, but it's just the other side of, instead of fundraising, I'm now actually looking at, structuring our governance and granting. So basically that's my story. Long and winding, but I think it's pretty interesting.
It's wonderful. You get to give away the money now. That's fantastic.
Yeah, that's part of the excitement. It's I want to actually see what the other side looks like. And it's actually looking very interesting.
So you're working at Popcorn. And when I looked at that website, I did a little bit of reading and I think I understand it a little bit better than my first glance. But could you just explain what popcorn does?
Yes, definitely. So to explain that, I have to explain a little bit about decentralized finance. We have like the blockchain or Bitcoin has been existing for quite a while now. So people have better understanding, or maybe a little bit of understanding of what those are. But decentralized finance exists on platforms that's based on blockchain technology. So we're talking about platforms like Ethereum, and then there's another platform that's coming up. It's called Solana. So they're mainly the two platforms. And what these two platforms do is that they allow projects or teams of technical programmers to create product or contracts that kind of provide similar financial products as what we have in real world. For example, if we have in real world, we will have lending and borrowing services, and we put our money in the bank to get interest. We also do like maybe we do insurance, we buy insurance service. All of this, anything they can think of, can exist on the blockchain as well on these platforms that I just talked about, like Ethereum or Solana platforms. And the difference is in real world, all of these financial products are created by banks and centralized finance institutions. But in decentralized finance world, these products are all created by project teams and they are all governed by a protocol. So basically, we're not dealing with banks, we're interacting with codes. So we're interacting with a computer program, basically. So instead of a bank full of services people, like you go to a bank manager, if you want to transfer money, you actually interact with a contract that was written by somebody. And with that contracts come various protocols that enables you to earn interest, for example, to enable you to lend and borrow your money. So that's in a nutshell what decentralized financing is. And Popcorn, the company that I'm working for, is just one of the project teams that will create products. So our main product is an index where you can earn yield, like interest. Basically, you can earn interest through investing in these products. So that's what it actually does. However, this product, the Popcorn product, is different from others. It has a management fee. So usually the management fee of all of the decentralized finance products are lower than bank products because, again, we're talking about a contract executing for you, since your money can be, like existing on the blockchain. We're not talking about like a building full of people or like infrastructures that people need to pay for. Therefore, it's supposedly cheaper. Right now there's some hypes on the platform, so it's getting more expensive, but not as expensive as a bank. So it is cheaper, and the management fee usually is like 1%. And we dedicate all that management fee pretty much to the social impact projects. So we put our management fee when people interact with our contract, they pay the 1% management fee, and we move that into a foundation that was set up in Switzerland. And then we create a decentralized governance process so that the community member can decide where that money goes to. Like we onboard beneficiaries like nonprofit organizations, and then our members will vote with their what we call staking power. So they all have shares in the organization, and those shares in DeFi world is called tokens. So tokens are kind of like a currency, but really, if you want to compare it to a real life example, it's like shares, your shares in the company. You use that as a voting power. So the whole thing is really about a decentralized and democratic way of distributing wealth into social impact project. I would like to call it a decentralized way of setting up a foundation, as well as very similar to a giving circle.
That is fascinating. And I'm so glad you mentioned the tokens because I was really confused on the Popcorn website when they were talking about tokens, but the similarity to shares or that analogy is really helpful.
Exactly. Yeah. You hear that a lot, tokens, right? In the DeFi world, really, they're just shares. It's really a different concept of money as well. It's a different concept of currency. People call them currency, but they have the kind of the characteristic of a share. So you're owning part of the company, but that currency can actually gain value over time, just like shares, or it could deflate over time as well.
How does this compare to social impact funds?
Great question, Jen. So a social impact fund is basically a mechanism where you can invest your money in addition to expecting a fair, like a little bit lower return than normal return, you will also expect a social impact. So for example, I just met a company out of South America. They actually do a social impact fund for local coffee farmers, smallhold coffee farmers, because farmers, the liquidity is really low. Every year they just have one chance to make money because that's harvesting the coffee. So they really don't have collaterals or anything to loan money, make themselves better or make their business more viable. So what they do is that they get everyone together in the pooled fund and put up collaterals for the smallhold farmers. So they could put up funds as well, but in this case, they were putting up collaterals for smallhold farmers to have a loan. And then they get 8% return on their money. But on top of that, they get social impact, which is to help farmers to get out of poverty. So that's impact investing. What's different from our model is that we don't invest. We have users who invest in our fund where they generate yield from the other DeFi products that was kind of locked into our product design. And then that we only use that fee to actually donate or give out to nonprofit organizations without expecting a return.
Okay, so that makes me wonder about donor motivations. With a social impact fund, going in, you want to have a philanthropic impact, for example, but you're still interested in investing and earning a return. How does that compare with the donor motivations for, say, Popcorn's investors?
So it's pretty much very similar. So if you invest in a fund, you probably pay about 1% management fee as well, but your yield will be way less. So Popcorn or like any other DeFi protocol right now, any products on the Ethereum platform would probably earn you about 18%, 20%. That is a very safe, actually very low risk fund we're talking about, because right now in the DeFi world, we're talking about 40% and 2,000%.
Wow.
It's called the asymmetrical growth in the DeFi world. So you see a lot of people got really, really, really wealthy in the past year. So this whole thing just blown up in the past 12 months, basically. They call it the DeFi summer, last summer, I think, 2020. So you can have a really high yield. You don't really have to do anything with our product because you're paying that management fee. We just, as an organization, decide that we're not going to take that management fee. We're going to give the management fee to nonprofit organizations. But what we can do is our governance model as a giving circle, which is to have people who hold shares or hold those tokens to be able to decide which organization they want to give the money to. So this act alone is really about engaging people in philanthropy. So maybe when they actually buy our product on the DeFi platform, they are not thinking about philanthropy whatsoever. What we want to do is engage more people from this community to have them think about philanthropy and have them participate in decision-making of the foundation, as well as nominating nonprofits that they really care about, as well as have a meaningful connection with, so that they can actually help that organization nominate them and help get them to, get funds. So that the individual engagement is what we're looking for, and the impact that we're kind of looking for, and the change that we want to make here.
So can anyone just Could I invest in popcorn? What's the threshold for that?
So anyone can invest in popcorn. I think the only threshold is the high learning curve of the DeFi products, and basically the whole crypto community. It is behaving very differently. Like you really need to know what you're doing, and like I said, the asymmetrical growth of some of these funds could be represent really high risk as well. And there's like lots of opportunity for hacking, security problems. So the research, the learning is quite a lot. Like I joined the company in September, and I'm still not comfortable of investing any money into the crypto world. And I also see many women who are like that, who are in the crypto community but not investing, which is really interesting. And our community have like from 2,000 to 10,000 community members, and 95% of them are male. So this is really interesting, like how we can change that in the future.
Wow. And before I let you go, I'm wondering, given what you just said about the complexity, do you have any opinions or recommendations for nonprofits who want to accept either cryptocurrency or any decentralized finance product?
Definitely, I think everybody should be crypto ready, because this is totally coming. There's a nonprofit Chronicle article about 1 in 3 millennials have crypto asset, and also like 1/2 of the current investors have crypto asset as well. So people are turning into crypto very fast, like wealthy people, very, very wealthy people. And also what I'm seeing is in our community, there are many people who belongs to very underprivileged communities, like people on the Indian Reserve, people in Indonesia who didn't have anything, but they were able to learn this, and they were able to get wealthy really, really fast, and they want to give back. So it's very critical if nonprofits to actually get on crypto right now, because people really have a desire to make social impact. And how I suggest that you look into, if you're in the US, look into this organization called the Giving Block. They actually process the cryptocurrency for you and turn it into real money, just like a credit card processing company. And there's also another platform called Giveth, Giveth. They can really quickly onboard a project to accept crypto, but you probably have to kind of turn that money into real money for yourself. And average gift size is 10,000.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Melody.
Yeah, no problem. It's really a pleasure to be here, Jen.
That was Melody Song, Director, Global Impact at Popcorn.network. On its website, Popcorn describes itself as a carbon-neutral crypto savings account where fees fund educational, environmental, and open source initiatives. So, is your mind blown? Or are you off down the rabbit hole trying to figure out how to get in on the decentralized finance action? Or both? This is definitely a topic that requires more attention in future episodes of Chat Bites. Hey, if you enjoyed listening to this podcast, you have to come check out the Prospect Research Institute's learning community. It's a membership community with powerful resources, great discussions, and comprehensive courses. Check it out at member.prospectresearchinstitute.org. I'd love to have you join me as a member of the learning community. See you there.